Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Prime Sports World. And you may have noticed a little bit different on the way we're streaming. We have decided to switch over to StreamYard as opposed to using Zoom. We were using before. Hopefully, this gets you a little bit better video quality, a little better audio quality. And of course, it's still the same guys at Prime Sports World. I'm David Hupp, and right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. If you're looking for consistent content on Facebook, you come to the right place. Prime Sports World goes live 4 or 5 times a week, bringing the most up-to-date content. Also, we're going to be streaming on Facebook, on YouTube now too. So look forward to looking at that. And if you're looking for our friends over there, Rouge Bear, for sponsoring us here at Prime Sports World, drop the link to their website and our Facebook page, along with that NFL Supreme Facebook page as well. DJ, how you doing today, man? I mean, man, the weather in Chicago, it's not. We're not having it right now, are we?
No, I mean, just a typical Midwest winter. You know, it's 51 one day, and then it's Mother Nature's like, haha.
Man, it was like legitimately like nice this morning, even like.
It's like, yeah, you thought you were weird to me. Nope, not yet.
Like, it was like, oh, hey, shorts weather. And then it was like, nah. No shorts weather for you. But yeah, so what we're going to do today is we're going to do our first NFL mock draft. We're going to be making picks for all 32 picks. Sorry for the teams that do not have a first-round pick. Bears, Rams, Seattle, San Francisco, and I believe that might be it. And the Rams, obviously, because they traded away every first-round pick ever.
You set them already.
Yeah, so I think that covers everybody who doesn't have a first-round pick in this year's draft. So let's get into the first overall pick. We got the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock, and their team needs are outside linebacker, offensive line, defensive tackle,
everything.
Everything. But they have some specific needs that they need to address. And I think I have addressed it with my first-round pick that I'm going with. I'm going to go with Evan Neal, offensive lineman out of Alabama. He's the best offensive lineman in this draft. And you drafted Trevor Lawrence to be your franchise quarterback. You need to protect him. He did not have a good rookie season by any standard of any operation. Evan Neal can also play a lot of versatility. He can play left guard. He can play right tackle. He can play left tackle.
This is off of yahoo.com. This is from Eric Edholm. So this is, I guess he's an NFL writer for Yahoo. And this is his mock draft. He also has Evan Neal going first overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and David's doing stuff. And yeah, you said it, right? It's protect Trevor Lawrence at all costs. That's where we're at with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Right, no better option than Evan Neal, who can play multiple spots on a battered offensive line, where he can pretty much fit in wherever you need him. Probably every spot except center.
Yeah, I think he can easily play either guard position, because I know they do like the people on their roster right now. I know they have they used a high pick on Little a couple years ago, and they like the guy they have in the right tackle position, but you need to keep plugging away at that tackle position. It needs to continue to be an area of need. I mean, you have Trevor Lawrence. If you want him to be the franchise quarterback, you need to protect the guy.
End of the day.
Yeah, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's what has to happen if you are the Jacksonville Jaguars. Moving on now to the Detroit Lions, who are on the clock now. Their team needs are wide receiver, quarterback, offensive guard, linebacker, and defensive tackle. TJ, who do you have? Who does the experts have the Detroit Lions going with?
The Michigan boy stays home.
Yeah, I have that same thing.
Aidan Hutchinson, Heisman finalist, was one of the key catalysts in Michigan's turnaround season this year. Really vaulted up into the up the draft rankings with the season that he had. I mean, I just said that the guy was a Heisman finalist. Like, come on. As a defender, right? Where we already knew he had no legitimate shot at winning it, because football in general has just turned into a quarterback worshiping era. Like that's
I mean, unless you're a running back and you set like out of your minds records, but
right. But that's what it takes, right? Like you got to do something.
Yeah.
crazy.
Or every quarterback every quarterback has to just have a down season, so then you can easily win the Heisman too if you're running back. But you're 100% right. Aidan Hutchinson is the guy I take. I think the story is too he stays in Michigan, he stays where he's supposed to be. He set the single sack record for Michigan at 14.5 sacks. There are concerns about his arm length going into the next level in the National Football League, but I'm not worried about it. The guy has an insane motor.
Football?
What?
Like, can you play football? Like, it irks my soul when people who never really played the game, like, I'm worried about his arm length. I'm worried about his height. I'm worried about this. Like, can you play football? Yes or no? Yes. All right.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. So, yeah, we both have Aidan Hutchinson going there. The next pick is made by the Houston Texans. Their team needs our quarterback, running back, tight end, offensive guard, defensive end, cornerback, and safety. Everything on the defensive end side of the football for sure. I have them taking Kayvon Thibodeau, edge rusher from the University of Oregon. This guy has the opportunity to be a once-in-a-generation talent. The dude is really good. And I know he didn't have the best season, but I think he was preserving himself for the draft to not get injured. I know he had an ankle injury at the very beginning of the season. I think that affected him all the way through the end. This guy is going to test out of his mind at the combine. Look for him to put up crazy numbers. And he addresses a major need because Tennessee's defense, the Houston defense is terrible. Trash.
Yeah. Eric Edholm also has Kayvon Thibodeau going third to Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if these two picks, Hutchinson and Thibodeau, if they are flopped, wouldn't see that because
it wouldn't surprise me if either of these three guys, the three guys that we talked about going, wouldn't be surprised me if they went number one overall too.
Yeah, it don't surprise that wouldn't surprise me either. Like I think these first three dudes are not only are they interchangeable, but they're all safe picks. Like you can't go wrong with these. Like if I'm Jacksonville, yeah, I need offensive line help to protect Trevor Lawrence, but I don't think Jacksonville fans are going to be upset that Aidan Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau is chasing around Ryan Tannehill for 2 games a season, or whoever's quarterbacking for the Colts for 2 games a season for the next 10 to 12 years or however long they have them. Right? Houston, we already know what their situation is. Like everything is hinging on what the hell is going on with Deshaun
Watson. Yeah. So we got into in the last show, so we'll move on from there. Let's swing into our 4th overall draft pick. We got the New York Jets on the clock, and their pick is in. Their team needs are also basically everything. Quarterback, running back, tight end, offensive guard, defensive end, quarterback, and safety for the New York Jets. So looking at them, I have them going with Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame. I know this is extremely early for a safety, but Kyle Hamilton is a safe bet. This dude is going to be good. That's all I can say about it. He's going to be a good player. He's got natural football instincts. I think the dude can really play.
Yeah, Yahoo also has
6'4", 219 pounds. I mean, the dude is just built to play safety in the National Football League.
So you short him a pound. I'm gonna give him that 220. I'm gonna give him that 220. Yeah. Yahoo also has Kyle Hamilton going to the Jets, 6'4", 220. This is a guy who can play for all 32 teams. Right? Like this, I also wouldn't be surprised if teams try to move up as close as they can to try to get him, a guy like him.
I agree with you. I think if Kyle Hamilton falls, look for teams to for sure jump up the draft boards to try to get this guy.
Like facts.
The dude is going to be a superstar. He's going to be that next Jamal Adams type safety player.
Nothing much more needs to be said.
Yeah, moving on from them, we got the 5th overall pick. We got the New York Giants. That pick is in. Their needs are offensive line, tight end, linebacker, edge, quarterback, and then finally wide receiver. Who do the experts have them taking, TJ?
Well, the experts have at Yahoo have them taking Ike Ekwanwu from North Carolina State. And it says here that he isn't perfect technique-wise, but he has the frame and he has that raw strength where it's like that, like what they say about basketball players that's like really tall. Like you can't teach 7 feet. You can't teach raw strength. Like if a guy just has it, you can't teach that. So the only thing you really can do with him is turn that raw strength into good technique. You can teach good technique. You can't teach somebody how to just run somebody over. That's natural. So Ike Ekwanwu is a giant, will be a giant, and it's gonna be much needed.
And I know the Giants have spent a lot of draft capital on the offensive line over the last few seasons, but this kid is special. He showed he went to NC State. The dude is just immense. He would be. You can either move him to the left tackle if you want to keep Andrew Thomas or whatever you want to do at right tackle. This dude is going to be special, and this guy is also in the mix for the first overall pick. If he goes to the combine and puts up insane numbers at the combine, I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville Jaguars are calling his name at the end of the day.
I mean, like, when I think of the Giants, I think of, like, you got Andrew Thomas at one tackle. You spent the second round pick on Will Hernandez a couple years ago. I don't know who their center is. And
1 second. Well, I mean, they brought Nate Solder in. It was been a colossal disaster.
Is he still there?
I think so. I'm pretty sure he's still there. But let me take a second.
No, well, technically, like, he's a free agent, but he did spend last season with the Giants. So
I think he spent the last 2 seasons with the Giants, and that was not a good fit for him or a player.
I mean, he's likely a cap casualty for the Giants anyway.
More than likely, yeah. So Nick Gates is their starting center. Doesn't exactly fill you with all the kinds of confidence, but they're gonna need a right tackle. You can either move Andrew Thomas, who's been a little underwhelming at left tackle. You can either move him to right tackle and let this kid play left tackle. They need to address this offensive line. No matter what they do, this draft pick needs to be an offensive lineman, unless Kayvon Thibodeau somehow falls in their lap at 5.
Exactly, or Kyle Hamilton,
or that too. But so they have eventually needs an offensive line. They got to address them. Moving on from there, the pick is in. We got the Carolina Panthers, and their needs are quarterback, offensive line, safety, defensive tackle, and defensive end. I personally had them taking Ahmad Gardner, the cornerback out of Cincinnati, Sauce Gardner, as he's like to goes by his nickname. And anytime your nickname is Sauce, you better have game. Look at Carolina patching them up with the other corners that they took last year. J.C. Horn, who didn't play much last season, but if you can build up that secondary to kind of cover up which is not a great front seven, build up that secondary along with the safety they drafted 2 years ago, this could be a team that's on the up and up.
Yeah, no issue with that whatsoever. You say out of Cincinnati, people need to with Cincy going to the Big 12 this upcoming season. I just want to give a shout out to Sauce and some of the other guys that's on that team, because they turned, like, Desmond Ridder gets all the credit and all the love, but he ain't turned Cincinnati into what they are by himself. Right? Guys like you just mentioned on the defense played a big role in turning Cincy into what they are now. Like 5 years ago, if you told me Cincy would be joining the Big 12, I'd have been like, okay.
They're going to get smoked when they get there, but I think they have a little legitimate shot now.
They have a legit shot. I mean, like, replacing him and replacing a guy like Desmond Ridder, that's not easy. But with the transfer portal, it should be a lot easier than we're making it out to be. The experts at Yahoo have the first quarterback off the board at 6.
Is it Malik Willis?
It is Malik Willis.
All right.
Again, we stressed to death that this is not a quarterback class to lose sleep over.
I also wouldn't reach during this quarterback class. If somebody had to fall in my lap, then sure. But to take a guy who has as many question marks as Malik Willis does, no offense to him as a player, I'm sure he's going to be a fine National Football League player, but we don't really know what he is outside of what he did at the Senior Bowl, which was amazing. He was amazing in the Senior Bowl, and the preparations for the Senior Bowl. But I'm not taking a quarterback with this many question marks at 6.
And I have a feeling
this team has other holes. Like, we talk about this all the time. Changing out the quarterback in Carolina is not going to fix all the other issues that this team has.
And I have a feeling
that you harp on all the time.
I do. Like we literally saw it with Jacksonville. Like, okay, you got Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. You have a once in a generation talent, and even that couldn't make things work.
You're picking number 1 overall again. This is you got a feeling that this is it for Matt Rule.
Oh, for sure. Like if this team doesn't like push towards the playoff spot or at least get a much improved record, he's going to be out of there.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that what's the owner's name? I had it pulled up. David Tepper is essentially putting Matt Rule in the same spot the McCaskies put Matt Nagy in.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna be a lame duck coach on the last year of a deal, and he's gonna have to coach a rookie quarterback and try to manage. Do I manage the future
Matt
or the
Rule
present?
isn't even in the last year.
He's got one more year after this. That's right. Sorry.
And so I need you to win, but I'm gonna give you this young quarterback, and I need you to win. Another thing that they mentioned is I'd be hard pressed for. If they do go quarterback at 6, I'd be hard-pressed for Matt Rule not to try to persuade them on Kenny Pickett, who he recruited at Temple.
And if the pressure is going to be on to win now, Kenny Pickett is a much safer pick. If the pressure is to win next season, because Malik Willis is not even close to ready. They don't like Liberty doesn't play very good talent, and he did look good in the Senior Bowl, but I don't know if that's enough to really translate to the NFL right away. Let's move on from there. The Giants are on the clock again. I'm not going to go through their team needs because they're immense. I have them taking Tyler Lindenbaum, the center. I believe he is out of Iowa.
You just wanted a chance to say Lindenbaum. I know you.
Lindenbaum, dude. It's a really fantastic name. But dude, the dude's the best center in the draft, and he addresses a major need with his New York Giants. If you can come out of here, you get 2 first-round picks. You get your left tackle of the future. You get your center of the future.
Well, let's remind the people how we got here.
This is part of the
Justin Fields trade. So this is Chicago. This will be Chicago's pick had they not traded that pick. But we got Justin Fields. And the Giants are still trying to figure out, is Daniel Jones the guy or not? I like our trade-off.
I agree with you. And I know this seems really early for a center. They usually go in the mid-20s, but this guy is leaps and bounds better than any other center in this class.
Well, it's funny that you say that because the experts at Yahoo have Utah linebacker Devin Lloyd going to the Giants. And, again, it's one of their needs. It's definitely one of their needs. Every time I saw Utah play this season, they were just smacking the living hell out of Oregon, and it's almost like everybody made a play, right?
Devin Lloyd is a fantastic football player. I honestly think the linebacker out of Georgia is a little bit better than him. I think you're kind of nitpicking there, like which between 1 and 2 when it comes to this linebacker class, but those 2 guys are both good. I'm just not crazy about taking a linebacker this early. I think this team has more glaring needs on the offense.
I mean, unless it's like hit like you absolutely can't miss. Like you got to remember like the Bears took Roquan at 8 when we had him.
Yeah, I mean he's been nothing short of extraordinary since he's gotten to the Chicago Bears.
And you already know my saying. If that's your guy, get your guy. Don't hesitate. All right, we have multiple first-round picks. We have multiple picks in this round, whatever. If you fall here, we'll get you here. No, because you don't know what the other 31 teams are thinking.
I 100% agree with you on that. Moving on from the Giants, we got the Atlanta Falcons. Their team needs are quarterback, running back, safety, linebacker, edge, wide receiver, and then offensive line. TJ, what do the experts have them doing?
Sauce Gardner out of Cincy falling to the Falcons at 8. I'd be hard-pressed for the Falcons not to address that quarterback position at some point. I mean, they're in a better situation because let's say they go get a Desmond Ridder if he falls to the second round and he's there by their pick in the second round. You draft Desmond Ridder, like, bro, like you could sit a year, right? We saw Felipe Franks every day. We know he ain't ready.
And they got Josh Rosen, I think, on that team too, and he for sure ain't ready. He came in and threw.
Josh Rosen might have to just consider being a coach or a coordinator at this point. Like it's not gonna happen for him. Sorry to say.
Yeah,
it sucks because he got dealt a bad hand in Arizona.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Like once you're labeled like that, it's kind of hard to shake that label.
I have the Atlanta Falcons going corner, but my Sauce Gardner's already off the board for me. I have them taking Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU, and I 100% realize that he has not been as good the last 2 seasons as he was during that national title season at LSU. But during his national title season at LSU, he was the best corner in the in college football. The dude can really play. He can really shut people down. I think there's potential there, and you look at the Atlanta Falcons, you have that kid from Clemson who was basically a shutdown corner this year.
Terrell?
Yeah, AJ Terrell. And then if you add Derek Stingley to that secondary, you automatically have 2 really good corners that you're going to have for the next, on paper, 5 or 6 years and to build on.
Yeah, I don't hate that pick at all. So we both got the Falcons going corner.
Yeah, if Derek Stingley, if Sauce Gardner had still been there, he just happens to not be there in this
right.
particular mock. So yeah, that's why I went with the other way. Moving on from there, we have the 9th pick. We got the Denver Broncos. Their team needs are a quarterback, offensive line, linebacker, safety, quarterback, wide receiver. I had the Denver Broncos take. I was very close to making this my first quarterback taken off the clock here. But I think Denver is going to address their quarterback concerns either via trade or something in via agency. I do not think they're going to draft a rookie here. I think they may draft someone later in the draft. Maybe they can get Sam Howell in like the 3rd round or something and address it there. But I think they're going to address their offensive line. I think they're going to take Charles Cross, the kid from hold on.
Not Holy Cross.
Yeah, not Holy Cross. This is not Holy Cross.
And they say crazier things have happened.
Yeah, he's out of Mississippi State. He's a sophomore redshirt freshman. Crazy athleticism. The dude is built to play offensive tackle in the National Football League. Especially, they haven't really the offensive linemen in Denver haven't really panned out.
Not only have the offensive linemen in Denver not panned out, the quarterback ain't panned out, and the second quarterback off the board, according to Yahoo, is Mr. Kenny Pickett out of Pitt. He went viral for about a week with the fake slide, and the NCAA came out within a day. It's like, nope, you cannot do that because enough defenders raised hell about it. It's like
they made the right call. They made the right decision.
They absolutely made the right call because
somebody's going to try that and get smoked because they thought it was going to be a fake slide, and they're like, "Oh, buddy, I thought he was going to fake it."
Or a defender is going to shred their knees because they're slowing down to not get a penalty.
Yeah.
And then he's just gonna fakes the slide and keep it going.
I'm actually surprised that somebody hasn't tried that before. He was
because normally people just don't try it, right? You give yourself up, you're giving yourself up. I can't get enough. I can't say it enough. Yo, Elway, you've missed on every quarterback except one, and you don't get credit for that one. Right?
Not from us, at least.
Right? No, you don't get credit for bringing in Peyton Manning. Right? Peyton Manning didn't have to play for the Denver Broncos. He didn't have to.
Yeah, right? he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, no matter what happened. Even if he never played another snap again, after that neck surgery.
So if I'm, never mind. It's not important because Denver is actually up for sale right now.
Correct.
And I don't know which direction that's gonna go. I've heard rumors.
I also heard rumors. We're not going to address that here on this podcast. We'll save that for other people to address.
Right.
Let's move on from the Denver Broncos pick to the New York Jets on the clock again at number 10. I already went through their team needs. I'm not going to go through it again. Their team needs are immense. With their second pick, I had to take in George Karlaftis. He's the edge rusher out of Purdue. Many want to question this guy's motor. They also want to compare him to some other people that didn't pan out necessarily in the National Football League so far. But I think he's got every intangible to be a good edge rusher in the National Football League. And if you're the Jets, you need to get those kind of guys on your team.
Okay, so at Yahoo they have another Michigan guy, David Ojabo.
Okay,
going top 10 to the Jets going to 10. They aren't high on Oyabo as others might be, like them at Yahoo, but you're at Yahoo. and you're not high on him, but you still have him going 10th. So make it make sense.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like that's why it's like I don't know. Like if you're the Jets, if you go this route, like one, you can't blame them. Like you already have a solid front. Quentin Williams turned it around.
Yeah.
I think you also signed his brother, which made a hell of a story. You also had another guy. His name's escaping me. You signed him to an extension after like 8 games of the season. He was just having a hell of a season. And he's just like, you know what? I am going to bring you back right now. My decision is already made. This is
the pick from Seattle.
This is the pick from Seattle from the Jamal
Adams trade. Yep.
Is this the last one of that? Like, is that?
Yeah, 100%. It's the final pick of that trade.
Okay. So, I mean, if you're the Jets, there's a lot of ways you can go with this. Right? We know you're not going quarterback because you just spent one on Zach Wilson, and you want to give Zach Wilson at least another year before you decide to
pull the plug on him. Yeah.
So far, top through 10 picks, no running backs, no receivers.
Yeah. I don't think the wide receiver thing, but we'll see about the running back. Moving on for the 11th pick, we got the Washington football team on the clock. Their needs are right there: quarterback, offensive line, linebacker, safety, and cornerback and wide receiver. I have them taking the very first quarterback off of my personal board.
Is it Kenny Pickett?
No, it's not. Who do you think it is?
Okay, well, off this one, Kenny Pickett's gone and Malik Willis is gone. You don't have him going Malik Willis because I
have them picking Malik Willis just based on
Malik Willis. Okay.
Based on his Senior Bowl performance. I think that's enough to get him into the top 15. And I think if you're Washington, you have Tyler Heineke there. You have Ryan Fitzpatrick potentially under contract still. You don't need to rush Malik Willis onto the football field. You can wait a season to bring him back. I think Malik Willis makes all the sense here at Washington Commander. He has the highest upside of anybody in this class. Malik Willis, I think, is the guy they will take here at number 11 for the Washington football team. Malik Willis. The dude's got a rocket for a throwing arm.
Well, it's the reasons you said they don't have to play Malik Willis right away. It's the same reason they don't have to play Matt Corral right away. Not to mention Corral is also coming off a knee injury, and for him to still go top 15 to Washington at 11, still pretty amazing. Yeah, bro, just sit down, learn from Heineke, learn from Fitzpatrick.
I actually don't expect Fitzpatrick to be on this team next year.
Who never wants to retire. He just wants to. He just wants to milk being the only quarterback from Harvard to ever do anything in the NFL.
I mean, let him have his moment. He doesn't have anything else. He does have like 80 kids, so I mean, maybe he'll get busy with those. Moving on from the Washington football team, we got the Minnesota Vikings on the clock, and their needs are edge, offensive guard, cornerback, linebacker, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and defensive end. TJ, what do the experts have them doing?
Well, the experts have them actually making a good move, and I just hope they continue to be the Minnesota Vikings and not make a good move. And it's Derek Stingley Jr. at 12 for them. And, yeah, again, that's a good move. The Vikings are prone to not making good moves, and I'm hoping the latter stays the same. Like, I don't want them making good moves because I don't want to see Derek Stingley 2 games a year for the next 12 years.
Yeah, Derek Stingley Jr. I think is going to be super good. Like, he had a really rough last 2 seasons, but, I mean – he hasn't been as good, but they've been on the field. They've been on the field a lot more. I mean, they're going to get exposed.
Like the saving grace, for the other teams in the division, if they get Derek Stingley, is I'm only saying their names because they're on the teams right now. Nothing's happened. He would have to see Allen Robinson twice a year. He'd have to see Devontae Adams twice a year.
Neither of those guys are going to be on that team. Their teams when the season starts. They might have to see Ross Brown twice a year.
Are they off the team right now?
Okay, TJ.
Are they off the team right now?
I'm having the Minnesota Vikings go David Ojoba. I'm not sure. I'm sure that's how it's pronounced. Edge rusher out of Michigan. So they need a pass rush. They had the 30th rated pass rush in the league last year. Win rate last season. The dude had 11 sacks last season. I know he's still raw, but if you can get a lot of potential out of him, as he was only a 1-year starter in Michigan, I think the sky's the limit for this dude.
Yeah,
Uh,
no issue with that.
Moving on from the most disappointing team in the National Football League by both of our accounts, the Cleveland Browns. Their team needs a wide receiver, defensive tackle, linebacker, offensive lineman, safety, and edge. I have them going Garrett Wilson,
And this one.
the wide receiver out of Ohio State. It just makes too much sense with the connection between Ohio State, staying in Ohio. Garrett Wilson is my number one wide receiver in this particular class. Rashard Higgins is also somebody who could be leaving in free agency, and Jarvis Landry could potentially become a cash casualty. They are going to need to address the wide receiver position. Garrett Wilson is the best receiver in this class.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the Cleveland Brown move, they go Jermaine Johnson, the edge rusher out of Florida. I don't understand it unless you just let him. Jadeveon Clowney's not. No.
Yeah, he is. He is a free agent.
Okay, unless you decide to not bring him back, which I don't understand why you wouldn't. Unless you really like that. Who's the rookie they got last year?
Oh God. It's Jeremiah Usu-Koromoa.
Okay, unless you really like him that much to say like, all right, Jadeveon, we don't need your services anymore. We're gonna ride with him, Owusu-Koromoa, and the rookie and Garrett as the 1-2 punch coming off the edge. Thank you, your time's done. But then if that's the case, you might as well just keep Jadeveon Clowney as like backup because that's essentially what this guy's gonna be.
Yeah,
I mean that move.
Yeah,
so what's the point? Like that's a lateral move. And that's why Cleveland is where they are right now.
True. But yeah, I think Garrett Wilson's the way they'll eventually end up going. Let's move on to the next pick. We stay in the AFC North, and we got the Baltimore Ravens on the clock. Their team needs their offensive lineman, cornerback, wide receiver, linebacker, edge, defensive tackle. And I have them taking Trent McDuffie, the cornerback out of Washington. And I know we joked about it, but Washington's slowly becoming a little bit of cornerback U over there. They seem to have a cornerback or safety in every draft class moving forward.
Washington is slowly trying to compete with, like, hey, when you say DBU, throw us in there. I'm like,
they seem to have a guy get drafted in every draft lately. The dude is 5'11", 195 pounds. He missed only 6 tackles of 100 attempts in his entire career in college.
That's a pit bull.
The dude he's an excellent pure zone cover. Put him in Baltimore. I think eventually they may have to make some decisions there in that secondary with Jimmy Smith and those other guys. So
Marlon,
not Marlon Humphrey. Marcus Peters.
Yeah.
Who the experts got?
Trevor Penning out of Northern Iowa, offensive tackle, and I am 100% with it. Lamar Jackson, protect that guy. I mean, it is what it is. Like we saw him beat the hell. He basically missed like half the season because he was hurt, and when he was out, so went the Ravens' playoff chances. All right. Tyler Huntley is a nice backup. He's the perfect backup. He literally fits. Like he literally does what Lamar Jackson does, just not at the MVP level. Right?
It's true.
So yeah, Trevor Penning, shore up that front four. You're still trying to replace what's his name? The guy you traded to Kansas City because he was unhappy. Zeus Jr. Orlando Brown Jr.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, this is a safe pick by the Baltimore Ravens.
Totally agree with you on there. Moving on to there, we get the first of 3 Philadelphia Eagles 3 first-round picks in this draft. Question for you: do you think Philadelphia will make a selection with all 3 of these picks? At
least 2.
I think for sure. I think if a quarterback falls that some other team likes, I can see Philadelphia making a trade. The pick is in, so their team needs their linebacker, cornerback, safety, edge, wide receiver, offensive lineman, and safety. And with the first of their 3 first-round picks, I have them taking Andrew Booth Jr., the corner out of Clemson. The dude is scheme versatility, possesses some of the best feet in the draft. He ended up in college with 3 picks and 2 passes in the final 2 games. The dude is just good.
The experts have the Eagles taking Purdue edge George Karlaftis at 15. Top 15 pick. They're saying Karlaftis could fall to the 20s, but they're banking on him having a good combine to move his spot up like five spots. if I'm the Eagles, I know I need an edge rush, but I also got to get Jalen Hurts. If he's my guy, I got to get him more weapons to go to than Devontae Smith.
Yep. And we will address that concern with the next pick. The Philadelphia Eagles on the clock with the next pick. I have them taking Treylon Burks, wide receiver out of Arkansas. The dude has just immense upside, and it should be a day one starter. The guy's 6'3", 225 pounds. He should be a really nice compliment to Devontae Smith. Yeah. He could be a Deebo Samuel type receiver in the National Football League.
And the Eagles still don't address the lack of weapons with their second pick in the first round, because the experts at Yahoo have them taking the DB out of Washington, Trent McDuffie, which is also a need. Yeah, Darius Slay can't cover everybody.
True. It's true. He can't. He can certainly try, but he may be find that that's maybe a little more difficult than he's expecting. Moving on from them, we got the Los Angeles Chargers on the clock, and their quick needs are defensive tackle, offensive tackle, edge, wide receiver, and then tight end. Mike Williams is a free agent for this team this offseason. DJ, who do the experts have them taking?
I doubt they let Mike Williams walk, but they have them taking Charles Cross out of Mississippi State. Sure up the front line.
I would be shocked if Charles Claus is still on the board at 17. I just don't see it.
Well, again, we've seen crazier things happen, right?
I know. I mean, Pro Football Focus has Charles Cross going at 6. Sports Illustrated has Cross going at 6 as well. Like I would legitimately be shocked if he's still there at 17. If some team hasn't traded up, if he falls out of the top 10 and a team hasn't traded up to try to get that dude, I'd be legitimately shocked if the Chargers sit there at 17 and he just falls into their lap. I do not have them taking Charles Claus because he is long gone in my mock draft. I have them taking Jordan Davis, the inside defensive lineman out of Georgia. The Georgia defense was loaded, but Davis was a big reason why the Bulldogs ranked top in the league in rush defense. They need to clean that up. We saw what happened in that Las Vegas Raiders Charger game. The Las Vegas Raiders essentially ran it down their throats and basically were able to set up for the game-winning field goal. Jordan Davis secures a lot of that problems. Give me Jordan Davis for the Los Angeles Chargers at 17.
I mean, I think they're along the lines of if Cross is there. I mean, we both got them going offensive line, right?
No, I have them taking defensive tackle. The Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle out of Georgia.
And that's a need too, because you got to have somebody who can collapse the pocket on Mahomes and
and now you need somebody who can stop the run because we saw what happened against.
Their saving grace is, luckily for them in their division, no one really runs the ball.
It's true.
You're not making that pick for in your division. You're making that pick for you banking on making the playoffs against an AFC team, the Tennessee Titans, that can run the ball. I think they are once again sold on Herbert. They're going to do everything to ensure the success of Justin Herbert.
I don't disagree at all with that,
because I mean, like, you can make the argument that
Charles Cross is not going to be on the board when they pick at 17. Like I just can't imagine that.
We also got to keep in mind, like, this mock has no trades. You haven't done.
I did not do a trade in this draft either.
So we already know that some of these first round picks, it's going to be some shuffling.
It's true. My next mock draft will definitely include some trades, but I did not include anyone on the first one.
Whenever I do mocks, I don't include trades because that shit's just too. It gets too complicated after a while, keeping track of who traded for what.
I just enjoy the trying to make things work. Let's move on from the next pick. We got the New Orleans Saints on the clock. Their big need is quarterback, wide receiver, offensive tackle, tight end, corner, safety, outside linebacker, and defensive tackle. I have my second quarterback being taken off the board here for the New Orleans Saints. Can you guess who it is?
You said second quarterback?
Yeah, second quarterback coming off the board here for me.
So who's your first? Malik Willis?
Malik Willis was the first quarterback that I had drafted.
I believe Kenny Pickett is your second quarterback off the
Kenny
board.
Pickett is the quarterback that I've taken. I think he will be a New Orleans Saint. He makes a lot of sense in that offense. I think he's ready. He could potentially be the most ready to win now player if he needs to start, because this is a Saints team that still wants to make the playoffs. There's still a team that has an elite level defense. I do understand that there will be cash casualties on this team because they have been bad with their books over the last few seasons. But if they had to pick a rookie quarterback that needs to start this season, Kenny Pickett is the most ready to go. Give me Kenny Pickett for the New Orleans Saints.
Well, I could see the Saints going multiple directions with this pick. Like if Teron Armstead leaves, they're going O-line. Right?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
They are banking on Jameis Winston coming back. And
I guess. I don't know.
And Taysom Hill going back to that Swiss Army knife role that got him paid. Because we already know you're not starting Taysom Hill at quarterback for 17 games. You'd be picking number 1 overall.
Probably.
So in this mock draft, Yahoo has them going Garrett Wilson, the receiver out of Ohio State. And if I'm not mistaken, this is their first receiver off the board at 18. The question marks about Michael Thomas are obviously why they're still making this pick. We don't know what the hell is going to happen with him. That's another one of those cap casualties / trade.
Well, the dude's noticeably unhappy, so I think they're going to have to do something at some point.
Right, and I am a proponent of trying to get something for a player before you just lose them outright.
Even if they can get a second-round pick for him, I think that'd be a win. The dude's pretty unhappy there.
He's very unhappy.
Moving on from that pick, we got the Philadelphia Eagles on the clock again with their third first-round pick. I went over their team needs. I have them taking D'Kobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia. This is arguably, in my opinion, I think the best middle linebacker in this draft. The dude is a leader. The dude could really play. Look for him to be the first linebacker taken in this draft.
Okay. Well, they got your boy Tyler Linderbaum.
Okay.
Going into the Eagles at 19.
Jason Kelce potentially retire.
Jason Kelce doesn't come back. That's if he doesn't come back.
Jason Kelce could potentially retire, or he could just leave in free agency.
Which, if I'm Jason Kelce, is Jason Kelce a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Yes.
He's got a ring. He's made it to the Pro Bowl, a million Pro Bowls.
It's solidified. When he get that call. When he retires, 5 years from now, whenever.
I thought DeMarcus Ware would be a for sure first ballot Hall of Famer. So who knows?
We are not going to get into that because.
Anyway, what is the argument against him being a Hall of Famer the first ballot?
They put a referee in over a guy who has 140 some sacks.
If Marcus Ware has a ring, he was essential on the team that won a title. The dude should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
But we're gonna put we're gonna put this referee in because he contributed to the game. What the f does that even mean? Anyway, next pick.
Moving on to the Pittsburgh Steelers on the clock. Big Ben Roethlisberger retires. Their team needs a quarterback, offensive line, quarterback, defensive tackle, safety, inside linebacker. I have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking. What do you think I have them doing here?
Quarterback.
No, I did not have them taking a quarterback. I have them taking Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. Before you can bring a new quarterback into this situation, you need to improve this offensive line. We talked about this during in our recap show when we were talking about Ben Roethlisberger and replacing Hall of Famer. They need to find a way to get better offensive lineman help. They can put whatever quarterback they want back there. If they're going to get killed, it's not going to do them any good. Give me Trevor Penning. He's the best tackle out on the board. I think they either trade for a quarterback, or I think this is a team that eventually dresses it later with a Sam Howell type player. And I think maybe they'll just roll with Mason Rudolph, or they'll dress it in free agency.
It's funny that you mentioned Sam Howell because that's who's going
to the dude is not a first-round pick. Oh, that's wild.
That's who's going to Pittsburgh at 20. This mock draft from Yahoo from Eric at Home has 4 quarterbacks going in the first round of his mock draft that was published now 5 hours ago. All right. 4 quarterbacks in the first round. None of them are Desmond Ridder. Let's not go there.
I straight up, I do not like Sam Howell in the first round. I don't get it.
Of the 4 quarterbacks, you could not have asked, you could not have seen a more precipitous drop off than the the draft eligible quarterbacks in this draft than Sam Howell. Sam Howell went from Heisman favorite.
Sam Howell went to presumptive first round pick, first overall pick.
Favorite, first round pick to still a first round pick.
I mean, if you don't want to talk about Spencer Rattler at all, but if you want to just ignore him because Spencer Rattler had probably more of a drop off.
Like Spencer Rattler's null and void because he decided to stay in school, right?
He's a good call.
Sam Howell went from Heisman favorite, preseason Heisman favorite, to the way we talked about, like, yo, Buddy would have been lucky to make it drafted.
Yeah, he struggled big time this season. I mean, you take away two of his two best running backs, you take his best receiver away. That's what happens.
Right. I mean, like, he didn't have
Daz Newsome was gone.
He didn't have the running back Javonte Williams to turn around and hand the ball to. Right.
Yeah.
Sam Howell is. I mean, like, he had his moments. Right. He had moments.
Yeah, but as a whole, it was a pretty disappointing season. Moving on from them, we got the New England Patriots on the board. Their major needs are cornerback, wide receiver, linebacker, safety, defensive tackle, and offensive line. TJ, what do the experts have them doing?
They get that edge out of Georgia, Travon Walker.
Okay.
And it's a Belichick pick. It's like it's a Belichick pick, right? Like, I need the ball. I need somebody that can help me get the ball back in Mac Jones' hands, raise some hell, create some turnovers. Make Josh Allen sweat just a little bit more because we saw that playoff game. He ain't sweat at all.
No, he didn't. He wasn't even touched that game, it seemed like. I have New England addressing another need. I think they need a wide receiver, to go-to wide receiver for Mac Jones. I have to take it in Chris Olave.
Number 2 for you?
3. I have them taking Chris Olave, the wide receiver I had at State.
Oh, I hate you.
He's
so bad.
Chris Olave is a good receiver. He's a little bit overshadowed by Garrett Wilson being a little bit better than him, but the guy holds a bunch of school records for receiving touchdowns and yards averaged over his career. With 35 receiving touchdowns as a Buckeye, holding the school record for Buckeyes, that's quite the accomplishment. And he's got 15.4 yards per catch, which was the highest average for any Buckeye ever.
Like, considering the receivers that have come out of the Ohio State University, that's an accomplishment. I don't hate that pick at all, but knowing Bill Belichick, the fact that not only did I give up a perfect game to a playoff team, I gave up a perfect game to my rival in my division. Right? Like, I'm seething at that. I'm seething that none of the guys I brought in could create pressure. I'm seething that none of the again, Josh Allen had all day, call his girl, call his mom, check on the board.
I mean, the other thing, they were also on the field a ton because their offense couldn't generate nothing, literally. So if you add a wide receiver that's a good go-to wide receiver that can take the top off your offense, your defense, maybe you don't have to play defense as often against Josh Allen. Maybe, just maybe,
But, like, when you're a Bill,
I don't disagree with you. I think your rationale is correct as well.
Because like, if you're Bill Belichick, what's his calling card?
Defense, yeah.
Defense, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, but it's a new era. It's a new it's a new friendlier Bill Belichick.
It's a new friendlier Bill, but like, I don't think, like, bro, like, have we ever seen that? What the Bills did every time they touched the ball, they scored. I've never seen that, bro. I don't think anybody that's video game stuff.
It is, for sure. Moving on from there, we got the Las Vegas Raiders on the clock. Their major needs are wide receiver, offensive line, quarterback, linebacker, and defensive tackle.
And the law.
I have them taking Bernard Rainman. He is a offensive tackle out of Central Michigan, out of the MAC. The dude can play both tackles. He can play left and right tackle. Give me Bernard Rainman.
All right, first off, shout out to the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, Central Michigan's been a powerhouse kind of when it comes to drafting players.
Shout out to the MAC. this is the start of a new era with the Las Vegas Raiders. You're turning over a new leaf, new head coach, new GM. You're trying to forget the past as quickly and as much as possible. Mike Mayock ain't making the calls no more, and you should be. That's a win right there in
That's
itself.
true. Avoid the Raider reach.
The classic Raider reach. Like, if I could go back and like add some of our clips together about you just trashing the Damon Arnett pick, like I would. But they have them going another Clemson quarterback, Andrew Booth.
Okay.
And again, like this is a what do I call it? What do you call it? Like, this is a need, right? Like, Damon Arnett is flashing guns on IG Live, gets arrested, subsequently kicked off the team. Nate Hobbs turns
literally kick off the Chiefs too. Once he got charged, he was like, "Yeah, we can't have you around." Like,
right. Like, Nate, he was kind of hoping, like, "Oh, okay, I'm in the clear, I'm good."
Yeah.
No.
The rug got pulled off from under him.
Nate Hobbs had a very quiet, solid rookie year for a nickel guy out of Illinois, 6th-round pick. He also made headlines because he got a DUI. It's like, bro, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, come on, man. So hopefully, if you get drafted by the Raiders, this should be your life. Home, practice facility, game facility, back home.
I mean, if you are gonna go out, just take a cab. You have money. Just don't play around.
People that surround. Get rid of. I mean, like, it's cool because like you want to have your boys around you, but at least have some people in your group that's gonna be like, "Hey, man, don't do that."
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Like, it's not that hard.
Moving on from the Las Vegas Raiders, we got the Arizona Cardinals on the clock. Their team needs a cornerback, offensive line, tight end, defensive tackle, and wide receiver. I have them taking the edge rusher, Trayvon Walker, out of Georgia. Chandler Jones' future is very much in question at this point. Trayvon Walker could step right into those Chandler Jones shoes. Maybe not fill them, but he gives them a real competent edge rusher.
I'm not asking a rookie to fill.
I'm just saying he can try. Because I think Chandler Jones is for sure going to go.
Okay, he can try. That's asking the rookie to fill on average between 15 to 20 sacks a season.
Yeah, I know, but they're going to have. I mean, somebody's going to have to do it because I don't think he's coming back.
Yahoo has a Penn State edge, Arnold Ebiketie.
Ooh, that would be quite the reach.
That's a reach?
I think so.
Penn State. We talk about DBU and all this other stuff. Penn State if Penn State wants to call themselves pass rush U, like, I would not have an issue with that at all. Every time you turn up, there's a pass rusher from Penn State getting drafted in the first round, making, like, doing something. Now, don't get me wrong, like every other college, they've had some reaches, Aaron
they used to be linebacker U back in the day.
Yeah, like now, well, again, change it to the guard. This is a reach to you.
I mean, so in an NFL mock draft that does a 3-round mock draft, they don't have that particular. I'm not even going to try to say that last name because I'm going to just straight trash it. I can't even try. They have him going 44 overall to the Cleveland Browns.
At least you're honest.
I can't pronounce it. It's not going to happen.
I mean, I don't know what they're going to do. Like you said, Chandler Jones' future is up in the odds. J.J. Watt's future could also very well be up in the air. Like, we don't know.
J.J. Watt should probably retire. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but the dude hasn't finished a full season in a while.
And you can only take the injuries and the pain and the hurt and the rehabbing for so long.
Totally agree with you.
Kind of why I think Chandler Jones' future is in the air. Like, Chandler Jones might think he might have some left in the tank, but
I agree with you. I think Chandler Jones does have something left in the tank. I mean, he had 5 sacks in one game this year. Moving on from that, we go to Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys. Their team needs their defensive end, edge, offensive guard, safety, defensive end, and linebacker. I have them taking Devin Lloyd, the linebacker out of Utah, and pairing him with Parsons. I think that could be a very lethal 1-2 punch at the linebacker position. The dude was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Do it all for the Utes. 2007 ended with 110 sacks, 22 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 4 interceptions. Literally did it all for Utah. 110 tackles.
You said 110 sacks. I'm like,
Oh
dang,
yeah,
bro.
that'd be insane.
I'm
But
like, God damn, bro. Like he was
he was living in the backfield.
right. Like the minute they snapped the ball, there he go. God damn. The experts at Yahoo has Jerry Jones taking a very Jerry Jones pick, and it's Bernard Rahman out of Central Michigan. And the first thing that they're gonna mention when they draft this guy is his love of football came from watching Friday Night Lights. They're gonna make that a known point. They're gonna stress that till the cows come home. And I don't like it. I mean, I don't like it. I like your pick a lot more. Randy Gregory is probably gonna be gone.
Probably.
I mean, like, I get it in terms of them drafting an offensive lineman because Tyron Smith has been on the sideline a lot more these last 3 years than on the field.
He was less hurt this past season, but your point's still valid.
So if they go O-line, I can see them going O-line, just not that guy.
Man, I have that guy being taken like way earlier than this. So I can't say anything. I actually think he's a good player. So I think I have him going to the Ravens.
They're their saving grace if he falls this far is they're gonna like the classic. Oh, where'd you go to school? Oh, you can't play like you didn't play any big time competition, so you're gonna drop because of that.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Super Cooper Rush went to Central Michigan. I mean, there's some ties there to Central Michigan. I could see it. Moving on from this, we got the Buffalo Bills on the clock. Their pick is their team needs their cornerback, defensive end, offensive guard, linebacker, defensive tackle, running back, and wide receiver. TJ, what do the experts have them doing?
Georgia DT big boy number 99, Jordan Davis. Have you seen Jordan Davis?
Yeah, I have.
Do you know how big Jordan Davis is?
He's a large man.
It is not fair for a man to be that big. And I mean, height and weight-wise. Like, that man is huge. Just for reference, I'm like 5'10", 5'11", 6 feet if I wear Tim's. Timberland boots. Jordan Davis is like 2.5 of me, height-wise. Jordan Davis is like 4 of me. I'm exaggerating, weight-wise, because he ain't that big and I'm not that small. But this is a hand-in-hand, hand-in-glove, ball-in-glove type fit for the Buffalo Bills. They have been looking for that running mate for Ed Oliver since they drafted Ed Oliver.
It's true. But unfortunately, in my mock draft, Jordan Davis is long gone by now. And I need another solution for this Buffalo Bills. When Tre'Davious White went out with a torn ACL, this secondary really struggled. Levi Wallace led the team in snaps as the corner position. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent this season. There's no guarantee they're going to be able to afford to keep Levi Wallace. I have them going corner. I have to take in the corner out of Florida, Kaiir Elam. Yes, he is the cousin of the Elam that was drafted a few years ago, but the dude has desired size to play corner.
Who? He's whose cousin?
Man, what was that guy's name? Hold on. Matt Elam. He is related to Matt. He is related to Matt Elam. So he's I believe the cousin. So he's 6'2", 169 pounds. The dude has prototypical size to play corner at the next level. Yeah. So I think they're gonna address it, and that's how they're gonna do. They're gonna go corner.
I have no issue with that whatsoever. That's also I think both picks are need picks. Obviously. Yeah.
I mean, when you're the Buffalo Bills and you look at their roster, they don't have a bunch of glaring holes. Like, you're basically drafting on like depth and versatility and whatever you need to fill some holes in your gaps.
Well, you're going if you go corner, you're still. I mean, like, obviously, like, you can never go wrong with corner. I mean, you can, but you can't. Like, you can never have too many guys in your secondary. That's what I'm getting at. Just like you can never have too many pass rushers and offensive linemen.
Never too many offensive linemen too.
If you're Buffalo, you're still. It has to be burning in the back of your brain. Like, it still has to be the last thing you see when you go to sleep at night, that Pat Mahomes walked down the field on you in 13 seconds.
Yep.
And then walked down the field on you again in OT to send you home. Right? Like that has to be.
I mean, because your offense was perfect in that game. The defense is what let you down.
Like, the defense, I mean, for all you have to do is get one stop in 13 seconds.
One stop in the middle of the field and you win the game. Moving on from there, we got the Tennessee Titans on the clock. We got them as quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker, edge, outside linebacker, or offensive lineman, outside linebacker, and tight end as a need. What do the experts have them doing?
Julio Jones sees a little brother in Jameson Williams.
Yeah, I got them taking him too.
Go to Tennessee, and
I think also they can probably afford to have him. He's probably not going to play maybe next season. They can afford to let him sit for one season. The dude was awesome when he was healthy.
Yeah, and when healthy, we already know Jameson Williams, if he is healthy, he's top 10. Right? Because
I don't know about that.
Okay.
He's for sure in the top 15. Like that Cleveland pick, where Cleveland's picking right now at 13, you can basically pencil in Jameson Williams if he's healthy.
I would say 11 at Washington.
Sure.
I mean,
the Jets too. I mean, the Jets need a wide receiver. I mean, there are tons of teams that could use a wide receiver. That the Giants. So yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like obviously, like you said, like whoever gets him, they already know he's not going to play this year. And if he does play, if he does play, it's not going to be a lot, right? It's probably going to be like end of the like last month of the season, second to last month of the season kind of thing. But if you're the Tennessee Titans, you kind of need a guy that's going to contribute now, not later, because of your division. Like, you're going to win your division.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the Colts, if they move off of Carson Wentz, they have no plan B. And the other two teams in that division are the other two teams in that division.
Exactly.
So I agree with you. Moving on from there, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the clock. Their needs are outside linebacker, center, defensive tackle, wide receiver, cornerback, defensive end, and running back, and, of course, quarterback as well, which is why I have my third and final quarterback getting taken, Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. I also expect this team to make a trade for Jimmy G, and Jimmy G will be the starting quarterback of this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team for at least next season, and then you allow Matt Corral to be groomed under Jimmy Garoppolo for one more season. Watch how Jimmy Garoppolo proposes himself as a pro, and then you give the reins to Matt Corral next season. Give me Matt Corral for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the dude has all the intangibles. He's got the athleticism. He's got the arm strength. It's unfortunate that he got hurt during that bowl game, but the dude is going to be still a first-round pick, and he goes to a situation that could not be more ideal, with weapons on the outside, with a good running game, with an elite offensive line, assuming they keep Jensen. Give me Matt Corral for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And a hell of a coaching staff.
Yeah, a great coaching staff.
Chris Olave finds
27.
His way. Yep, Chris Olave finds his way down to Tampa, and it's almost like, I'm not going to say it's the rich getting richer, because we don't know what's going to happen with
Mike Evans.
Godwin.
Godwin, yeah.
Godwin. Because Godwin's a free agent. Godwin could walk.
I mean, they could also tag him for like an absurd amount too.
And it's almost got like, you almost got to ask yourself, do I tag this guy for a year where he's most likely not, again, same situation as James Williams, not likely going to play for a bulk of the season? All right, if I'm Tampa Bay, forget what people say. Like, yeah, Tom Brady retired, but goddamn it, I still got pieces around me. I'm still in my championship window.
Yep.
All right, like forget what everybody's talking about. Chris Olave is a guy that you can plug in right now. He can play right now. He immediately takes that maybe that number 2 spot across from Mike Evans, because Scotty Miller's not a true number 2. Scotty Miller's a slot.
100%.
Trying to think of
I mean,
somebody else.
Johnson's on there too, but I don't really think he's all that good. So, I like the wide receiver pick. I talked about him earlier when I had him going to. I don't remember where I had him drafted. Let me look at my mock draft one more time. Chris Olave, I have him going to the New England Patriots. I mean, the dude set all sorts of records at Ohio State, and it's hard to set records at Ohio State. So, yeah, I agree with you. Moving on to there, we got the Green Bay Packers. Edge, defensive end, offensive line, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, defensive tackle. Where do you have the Green Bay Packers going for? Where do the experts have them going?
Houston D lineman, Logan Hall. Houston's also one of those teams that don't get enough credit. They are, like UCF, are joining the new Big 12. So now we're finally going to see Houston and players like a Houston, a UCF, a BYU who joined the Big 12, players who never really get a lot of TV time. Like BYU never got TV time, but it's always late TV time, especially here. And no one's staying up 9, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night to watch BYU football. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You get those guys in some primetime games, and we can finally see the talent that these schools can produce. Houston has always been a good football team, a good football program. Again, they just don't get a lot of love because no one has eyes on them, national eyes on them. It's always one of those players where it's like you remember like when Ed Oliver got drafted, like top 5 out, like top 10 out of Houston. They're like, what? Like everybody loved like the casuals didn't love the pick because it's like Houston. That's not Bama.
I mean, Oliver's been a slam dunk. I have them taking Devontae Wyatt, inside defensive lineman out of Georgia. I do not expect Aaron Rodgers to be back on this team. I do not expect Devontae Adams to be back on this team.
I do not either.
Do not expect Marquez Valdez-Scantling to be back on this team. So that
might be there.
So they may need to get some help for Kenny Clark, and Devontae Wyatt is a freak of a man. So give me Devontae Wyatt for the Green Bay Packers.
It's a lot of cap casualties on that team. Preston Williams might get Preston Smith.
Yeah.
Might get going.
He hasn't been really. He hasn't been any good really for like the last 2 years. He had one good season, then he just kind of floated around. Moving on from that, the Miami Dolphins are on the clock. They have offensive lineman, linebacker, running back, wide receiver, tight end is their big needs. I have them going. Daniel Falao. He is an offensive lineman.
Is this the first round pick they got from San Francisco for hiring a minority head coach? Is this the draft conversation that they got?
This is the draft conversation for the Trey Lance.
Oh, okay. I take that back. Who do you have them going again? I'm sorry.
Daniel. I'm really struggling to pronounce his name. Falafel. He's at the University of Michigan. He's offensive tackle. It's spelled Faallele.
Oh, the big guy out of Minnesota. Okay.
Yes. That's the offensive tackle I have them taking. They need to address this offensive line. They need to continue to build around Tua unless they're going to make some sort of trade.
This my
I do not know how to pronounce it, but the dude's talented.
This my draft has the Dolphins taking Kenyon Green, the offensive guard out of Texas A&M. And it's the same thing, right? Like, you got to protect Tua. Tua does you no good running for his life. We already know he has a history of being injured. The last thing you need is for him to get more injured, right? And Mike McDaniel, you got your work cut out for you, man. Got your work cut. That's all I'm going to say.
That's true. Moving on from there, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. Their team needs are cornerback, wide receiver, linebacker, edge, defensive tackle, and safety. TJ, what do you have the experts have them doing?
Traylon Burks, wide receiver out of Arkansas. And
I can't believe that dude's still on the board.
And it makes sense, right? Like we say all the time about what's the issue with Kansas City. All right. Hill, Kelsey, cool. If I do a good enough job of taking at least one of those guys out, I already know the other guy can't single-handedly beat me, and you already have no faith in nobody else because it is what it is, right? Mecole Hardman ain't moving the needle.
And not to mention, he's a free agent this season, so they're going to have to commit money to him if they want to keep him. I have them going on the other side of the football. I have them taking a safety, Daxton Hill, out of Michigan. I do believe Tyrann Mathieu will be back for this team, but 4 of the other 6 starters that started defensive back are currently unsigned for next season. Fun fact, Daxton Hill is actually the brother of Justice Hill, the running back for the Ravens. And Daxton Hill can play safety. He can play a little bit of corner. The dude's just talented, and they need to improve their secondary as well.
They do need to improve that secondary because we literally saw a guy who no one heard of before he had that game carve them up for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. And then moving on from them, we got the team that fell in the Super Bowl, Cincinnati Bengals. Their major needs are corner, offensive line, safety, linebacker, and then tight end. Okay. I have them taking Kenyon Green, the offensive lineman, offensive guard out of Texas A&M. They need offensive lineman help. This guy fell. I believe when the season started, he was a top 10 pick. He's logged reps at every position on the offensive line outside of center. The dude is just versatile as hell, and he gives them a Swiss Army knife gadget guy that they can kind of move around their offensive line, and whatever they're able to, whatever holes they need to fill.
Riddle me this real quick. How many picks do the Cincinnati Bengals have in the whole draft?
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, once you find that out and you relay that information to me, the entire draft needs to be offensive linemen. The entire goddamn draft.
Hold on 1 second.
Because you had them taking O-line. This mock has them taking Zion Johnson, the offensive lineman out of Boston College. And we don't – I'm not going to say we don't care who it is as long as it's an offensive lineman, but it better be an offensive lineman. Again, Joe Burrow was sacked, not hit, sacked over 70 times across 21 games. He was hit.
So they have a first, a second, a third, 2 fourths, a fifth, a sixth, and 2 sevenths.
That's like 8 picks. Use them all. Offensive line.
9 picks.
9 picks.
Yeah.
You draft
the final pick of the first round mock draft. We got the Detroit Lions on the clock. Team needs wide receiver, quarterback, offensive guard, linebacker, defensive tackle. I could see a scenario where potentially Sam Howell could sneak his way into his first round as the last quarterback in this round, but I am not going to do that. I have them taking Jahan Dotson, wide receiver out of Penn State.
Why would they do that? And you got Jared Goff.
I mean, he's only under contract for one more season. Eventually, they're going to need somebody. They're going to need. I imagine they're going to draft somebody somewhere in this draft. But yeah, you pair Dotson with Amon-Ra St. Brown. That would really give you 2 really good wide receivers. And Dotson is a very talented wide receiver. He's really quick. He's got great hands. He's a great route runner.
I had them also going receiver, but they go Drake London out of USC, who was putting up numbers with, the likes of Keaton Slovis and whoever else could throw a ball at USC, throwing him the ball. And you reunite him with his running mate, Amon-Ra St. Brown. These guys were college teammates together.
I think the injury concerns about Drake London has kind of chased some teams off of him. By the way, that Slovis guy had first-round buzz at one point. People were talking about he had to go back to school, but people were talking about him being like a first-round pick at one point, and that's not going to happen. So.
Okay, just to keep it funny. So, you mentioned the teams that don't have a first-round pick, right?
Yeah.
This is, so you said the Bears, Seattle.
Bears, Seattle, 49ers, Rams.
The Colts. The 49ers. Yeah, and the Rams. The Rams don't have a first or a second, so they're not picking to the 3rd round. This is who the mock has these teams getting. At pick 39, he has the Bears taking Kaiir Elam, the corner out of Florida, who you had going in the first. He has Daniel Falale, the big guy out of Minnesota, going to Seattle at 41.
Okay.
He has Desmond Ridder falling to 47 to the Indianapolis Colts.
I like that, actually. I mean, if they have to stay on Carson Wentz. I just can't. I can't imagine they're gonna walk away from Carson Wentz.
At 61, he has the 49ers taking Mississippi State DB Martin Emerson. And all the way down at pick 103 in the 3rd round, the Rams pick Southern Utah offensive tackle Braxton Jones, and I'm assuming they're making that pick because Andrew Whitworth, bruh, you're 40, retire. Please.
He's for sure done. Like I can't imagine a scenario where he comes back. But yeah, this has been our first ever mock draft show. We're probably gonna do a couple more before the actual draft. Tomorrow, me and TJ are gonna bring you the crossover. Probably tomorrow morning around 11 o'clock as we normally do it. We're gonna be breaking down all of the All-Star festivities. We're gonna pick winners in the All-Star game, slam dunk contest, 3-point contest, and not to mention the skills challenge. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the skills, the rookie challenge as well, the Rising Stars challenge, which the format's different this year. We'll talk about which team we think is going to come out on top. I've been David Huppin. Right there is Mr. TJ Hopkins. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the first time we're using StreamYard, so let us know what you think about the platform. So let me think about what you think about the appearance of the show. Did you like it? Didn't like it? Give us some feedback. We're also streaming on Facebook or on YouTube right now live for the first time in the history of this show. So continue checking us out. This is Prime Sports World. I'm David. Right there is Mr. TJ. And what do we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, and we need it.
Yeah, we do need it, and we need the snow needs to. We had enough, baby. They're not getting the hint. We're no more. We had enough. We'll be back here tomorrow. You guys all have a good rest of your day. Peace out, brother. Tomas, I'm tapping.